Trump clearly plays by his own set of rules, and depending on how you look at it, it's working for him. Now, SHARPTON says it's time for Hillary to do the same. Reverend recently said the following, quote, "You get the feeling that they're in a professional boxing match and he's in a street fight, and they're coming in with their gloves on. This is a street fight with a guy with a razor and a broken Coca-Cola bottle, and you've got to fight like him, like that." Now, Dom spoke with a consultant who has seen this a few times himself, Sheinkopf, talked about that and the major players here behind the candidates.
The New York Times did a big piece, the consultants behind the presidential candidates. Roger Stone with Donald Trump and David Brock with Hillary Clinton. How do you assess both consultants?
These battles are often almost personal. The people at that level of a campaign, at that level of political business, see this as a battle between themselves as well as for their candidates. Expect this to be a very tough race for both candidates, and expect Roger Stone, who is well known for doing whatever he has to do, to be very smart, very tactical, and try to get past Brock.
And what respective role will these consultants play in this campaign?
This will be a very, very harsh campaign by any measure. Secretary Clinton does not know yet what she's facing. What she's facing is an implacable opponent, one Roger Stone working for Donald Trump, and the people certainly that Stone has brought with him, who will do whatever they have to win, and will do things that she and her team, who may play by a different set of rules, are not prepared for.
Might Trump's attacks actually work?
Are the moral attacks on Clinton for personal behavior effective? In some places they are, in some places they're not. People who wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton are likely not to vote for her anyway. And people who would vote for her are likely not to be swayed. But what it does begin to do is destroy Bill Clinton so that he can be attacked for not being the solution to America's economic issues. And NAFTA means illegal immigration to Donald Trump and to his followers.
How does the Democratic side play out, Hillary Clinton and Senator Sanders?
Well, Senator Sanders is doing tremendous damage to Secretary Clinton, not with respect to unifying the Democratic Party, but in raising issues that call into question her ideology. What does that mean? It means if she has no ideology and Donald Trump has no ideology, then it's a fair fight. He is making her into the anti-blue-collar, working-class candidate by making her an elitist and by challenging her on things like income inequality, fair tuition, and health care.
How does this end?
Bernie Sanders will likely move this to the convention. He's running a social movement, not a political campaign. But social movements tend to end when their grievances are attended to by government. And it's not likely that any of Bernie Sanders' grievances or those of his followers are going to be attended to with action, policy changes, or enactment of law anytime soon.
Hank, let's switch gears and talk about New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. A Quinnipiac poll shows his approval rating is down to 41%. 41%, the lowest since he became mayor, and a majority of New Yorkers believe he does not deserve to be reelected.
Polls go up and down, and anything can happen. Is Mayor de Blasio in trouble? The answer is he's not dead, but he's got problems. What are the problems? Traditional de Blasio voters are deserting him. That is the issue. African Americans and others that he tends to count on. If that does not change, or it increases in velocity, this mayor could be defeated. The question is, when will people know? You'll know in 60 to 90 days, and you'll know as these investigations reach their conclusion. The multiple investigations going on right now, as they reach their conclusion, people will know whether de Blasio is in fact beatable or can he survive.
We'll save the de Blasio talk for another night, but one of the things, Scott, that is interesting that's happening within the Trump dynamic is Stone had been shunted to a side at an earlier portion, as had Lewandowski. They're both back within the circle again. And all the folks, that they're trying to bring on the professionals to do this, they've been marginalized. The net conclusion is they haven't hired a whole bunch of staff people they need to. And I don't care what the polls say. There hasn't been an election won without get out the vote. They have no professionals on the ground that's going to help them to do that. And in a tough race, you need people to vote.
That's
so
right.
My point is, can Stone, the same guy with a Richard Nixon tattoo on his back and by all accounts a lunatic, but I guess talented in some respects, is that enough?
I don't think it matters as much as a candidate who doesn't have a platform or a persona, because I don't think he's going to have that much influence. The most dangerous thing is he's going to throw an idea out there, and Trump's going to re-say or somehow take it and run with it and have no idea what the consequences are. That's scary. I mean, that's really scary, as opposed to thinking through a policy decision. So I don't think any of these folks really have much influence with what Trump actually does, which he did today. He stands up there and attacks people and does other things. The other part of that is he also doesn't have fundraisers. He doesn't have people out there to raise the money. They're not joining his cause.
And he said himself, he said, if I don't have $1 billion, I can't win. That was Trump's own words, right? He's not going to get close to that at this point, but maybe it does, maybe it doesn't matter. But my point is, you still need some professionals, right?
Oh, absolutely.
If people don't bring in people like you, they can't just have the screamers do it, right?
Absolutely. And that's what this whole movement has been, with him working closely with the RNC now and trying to
And you know what I know? That's not working, apparently.
No, it is. With the RNC, with
by every
Reince
account that
Priebus,
you've read here, there's major dissension within the Trump camp. They haven't filled positions they said they were going to fill. They haven't cooperated with the RNC on any fundraising. And more than that, Manafort, who assuaged everybody that, trust me, I got him under control, has readily acknowledged that Stone and Lewandowski are back within the circle making policy.
They never left. They never left.
But he promised the RNC
but
they
the
would.
RNC, look, Trump needs the RNC. It's a fact. He needs them to win the general election. He needs their money. He needs their ground game. He needs to coordinate with the NRCC and the NRSC, Senate and House candidates.
And you do know that's not working right now.
It is a work in progress.
Okay.
They are all beginning to work together.
I got less than a minute. Here's the funny thing, Dominic. If you said to anybody 6 months ago, do the Clintons know how to fight dirty? Every single person in politics said,
That's
absolutely.
True. That's true.
Now the narrative is, oh, they don't know how to get in the gutter. I'm like, really? You ever heard of James Carville? You ever heard of guys that will have a role going forward? I think there's a misread that they won't do whatever they got to do to win. I think for folks who've covered them, that's not the Clintons that, people are describing them, I think, a little different than history says they're.
I'm glad you brought that up. On Friday in Edison, when we covered President Bill Clinton stumping on his wife's behalf, the first conclusion that I reached was, this is a frail old man up on the stage. And trust me, he didn't connect with the oratory skills with the audience the way that Bill Clinton normally does. This is not the Bill Clinton from the 1990s. He might still be quick, but not as quick as he used to be, so it might be a problem. But to show you the games that Donald Trump plays, Jessica's right. They went through that big thing of Roger Stone and Trump breaking up, the marriage is over. It was all a game. It was all a game for headlines. He never left. He's back with the campaign.
Well, that's good or bad. All right, coming up next, a 4-year-old kid's life in jeopardy when it falls into an enclosure of a 400-pound gorilla. Gorilla was put down, but the outrage flaring as we speak. Now the parents, they're under fire. The firestorm, at least for me, hard to believe.